Jillian never could sit still in class, feet tapping, finger snapping, rhythms 1, 2, shoulders always bouncing, her head wanted to groove, but the figures always stood stock still against the chalkboard. They were slick and silent, and so slippery, her mind slid and escaped right off them. She loved to be called to the front, because it meant she could finally lift out of her chair and sail forward, toes flirting with the floorboard. But once she was there, she could never remember what it was she was supposed to be doing. The chalk shook against the board out of rhythm. Spell castle, add 3 to 5, define freedom. But she could never get it right on the first try, or on the second, until she had to sit down, Jillian. Teachers tried to help her, but she made the others nervous, added agitation to the atmosphere, couldn't stop tapping, drove teachers to distraction, couldn't press the first grade, or the second, started to get nervous, and this made the tapping worse. Now it always came out of rhythm, so they had her fold her hands. Couldn't stop, hold the desk, couldn't stop, hold herself, and she would vibrate like a tuning fork, swarming at the teacher's straitjacket stare. Snapped at her, couldn't stop, yelled at her, couldn't stop, sent her to the principal's office, couldn't stop, knuckles crackling against the aluminum desk. She never stopped moving, she's sick. The principal told her mother. So her mother took her to one of those men with glasses who know how to fix you, can put in a shiny little cage for those mice in your mind, can straighten your brainstem and snap it back to your spine, can always find a solution. Barely even looked at her, just asked her mother what was wrong with her, how long had she had this problem, and Jillian tried to sit on her hands, but she couldn't stop moving. Finally, he stood up, said he needed to talk to her mother a moment, and as he walked out, he turned on the radio, and closed the door behind him. He turned to Jillian's mother and said, "Watch." And I watched that little glass window with the music, crept along the desk and spilled off the edges and lifted Jillian right out of her chair. She turned slowly, raised her arms to cradle every bar. As the music played, the arpeggios wiped all the dust out of her mind. She turned, her joints floated, decades passed, thunderstorms crashed within her and washed all the nervousness out. She turned as if she knew what she was supposed to be doing, defined freedom with the lines of her elbows, traced the turrets of castles from an architect's prayer, and knew with every breath that 3 and 5 is just 8. Jillian never could sit still in dance class, feet tapping, finger snapping, rhythms 1, 2. She loved to be called to the mirror to imitate every move, and more often than not, got it exactly right on the first try. Jillian never could sit still, period. The subway ride to the recital was its own performance. Each mile was 5,000 dance steps. She washed her hands in time, brushed her teeth like an opera. When she needed to think, she moved a little more because she knew that thinking was moving, moving was living. Each step was only breathing, each pirouette just a pulse. Years later, Jillian never could sit still in her hospital bed, feet tapping, finger snapping, rhythms 1, 2, shoulders always bouncing, her head wants to groove. Doctor smiled like they heard music, said, "She's a famous dancer." And even to the very end, she never stopped moving. Leapt up to meet the angel of death in the doorway, grabbed him by the waist, and waltzed away into the golden morning.